The candy mint and gum category, actually the household penetration in the US is 1% higher than toilet paper. Think about that for a minute. So when I approach media and my goals, they really are about sales, share, and profit at the end of the day, which I like to say aligns me with our CEO, which, by the way, it's one of the really cool things about the Hershey Company. Michelle Buck, our CEO, is one of the few female CEOs among Fortune 500 companies, given that we're just coming off International Women's Day. On top of that, our CFO, our Chief Growth Officer, and my boss, our Chief Marketing Officer, also are. Because I'm agnostic as to which of our different brands drive our sales, and I'm also agnostic to which media does, which, as has been talked about here a lot, to succeed in today's marketplace, you need that speed and agility to see what is working, what is not, and shift what you're doing from that standpoint. And so the first one, I will admit, is neither new nor is it very insightful, which is the fragmentation that is going on in media right now. This is probably the biggest thing that I and my team look at on a day-to-day basis. But what I want to do is double-click into a few key areas where this is really starting to change again, where I think some people miss it at the very beginning. And the first is, I say, what is TV today? The other one is the evolution of social. Now, talk about being agile and changing. A week ago in this deck, that Social 3.0 had a question mark after it. After Mark Zuckerberg came out with his announcement about how Facebook is going to move into messaging with end-to-end encryption, I took it off. Because I believe at this point in time that we're seeing the next evolution of social media, and we're right at the cusp of it right now. Now, look, humans have wanted to engage with each other since the beginning of time. So the next thing is this whole idea of audio. And I debated whether audio is reborn. Some people will say it never really went away. But we're starting to look at audio because what you're seeing is that consumers are still listening to it. So people still drive in their cars and they turn on the radio. Or they take their smartphone out, use one of their streaming music services and stream that through the car. Now, is that digital radio? Is it radio? Really, who cares at the end of the way? It just depends on how you buy it. I think what's interesting is that the smart speakers have sort of become the new radio in the home. So you have to be careful as marketers the data that you're using to send these signals because, you know, if we're not careful about this, the growth in ad blocking is just going to continue. So we have a simple rule on our team: don't buy ad units that annoy your consumer. Challenger brands versus established brands. There's a lot of talk in the industry that the master marketers today are no longer at the traditional CPGs. And it's interesting because that's become a rallying cry at Hershey. You look at the challenger brands and what they're doing, and it's really impressive. I tell you what's interesting though, and you saw this earlier, they do eventually scale.